On the eve of my wedding, my wife, Sharon Moonstone, drugged me and knocked me unconscious. She let her first love, Aaron Miller, take my place as the groom, standing beside her as they held the wedding that was supposed to belong to both of us. By the time I finally found them, they had already gone into the bridal suite and consummated their marriage. When I demanded answers, Sharon did not show a trace of guilt. "You live off me. You'd better behave. Make a scene and we'll divorce." My heart went cold. I handed her the divorce papers, but she barely looked at them. "Looks like you've improved," she said lightly. "At least you know a performance should be convincing from start to finish." Sharon Moonstone did not sign the papers that day. Instead, she froze the bank card she had given me and kicked me out of the villa. I knew exactly what she was doing. She was trying to force me to beg. In her eyes, I was nothing more than a pretty boy she kept around, someone she paid to exist. She was convinced that within 3 days, I would be crawling back to her in disgrace, kneeling in front of her, and confessing my sins. Unfortunately for her, several days passed, and I still did not bow my head. In the end, she was the one who lost patience and came looking for me first. The moment she stepped through the door, her first words were dripping with mockery. "Without me, this is all you can afford? A rundown rental?" She dropped herself onto the couch, sprawling without any grace, then issued an order. "Go take a shower. Serve me properly and I'll pretend none of this ever happened." The confidence in her voice, the way she looked down on me from above, was almost laughable. I placed the divorce agreement I had prepared long ago onto the low table in front of her. My voice was flat. "Sign it." Sharon flipped through the document casually, then sneered. "You've improved. At least you know a performance has to look convincing from start to finish." Then she added coldly, "I suggest you stop pretending. If I really sign this, you're the one who'll regret it." She pinched the bridge of her nose. "You're not young anymore. Can you think about the consequences before acting for once?" I shot back coldly. "If you cared about consequences, you wouldn't have drugged me with sleeping pills." At my words, Sharon's expression grew even more irritated. "What's the point of constantly digging up the past? Aaron is severely depressed. If I hadn't held that wedding with him, he would have killed himself. What was I supposed to do?" I lowered my gaze and said nothing. Her tone remained impatient. "I know you've been wronged. Once Aaron's condition stabilizes, I'll make it up to you. I'll give you another wedding." She reached out, trying to ruffle my hair. "Smile, pup. Your owner doesn't like unhappy puppies." Those 2 humiliating lines were once our unspoken ceasefire signal. Now they no longer worked. I tilted my head and avoided her hand. I was not a clean freak. Yet the thought that this hand had touched another man made my stomach churn. Her hand froze in midair. The room fell silent for several seconds before her voice exploded in fury. "Even throwing a tantrum has its limits." She grabbed my chin. "You toss out the divorce papers and feel satisfied. Do you know you triggered Aaron? He slit his wrists. If I hadn't found him in time." Fear still lingered in her eyes as she jabbed a finger against my forehead. "You almost cost someone his life. Aaron isn't even blaming you anymore. Can you stop clinging to this already?" I stated my condition. "As long as the 2 of you never see each other again." Sharon rejected it immediately. "I'm pregnant. It's Aaron's." My heart turned ice cold. My wife was carrying another man's child. "You've always wanted a child, haven't you?" she said lightly. "Behave yourself. In a couple of years, I'll give you one too." I shook my head. There was no need. Sharon rolled her eyes. "You think I want to have a child with you? After the divorce, you can have a whole soccer team with someone else. I don't care." She sneered again and again. "Constantly acting out won't get my attention. It'll only disgust me. You want a divorce, right? Fine. I'll grant your wish." She signed her name on the agreement and flung it straight into my face. Sharon looked at me smugly, waiting to enjoy the sight of me panicking after my little scheme was exposed. Instead, I simply picked up the papers and told her to leave. Her face flushed red with anger. "Don't regret this." As she was about to step out the door, I called after her. She raised her brows triumphantly. "Regretting it already? Too late." I spoke calmly, "Set a time. Let's go get the divorce certificate." Not long after Sharon left, her severely depressed lover, Aaron, updated his social media. He posted a photo of the 2 of them kissing, with a caption that read, "Wifey says my lips are soft and sweet, 100 times better to kiss than her ex-husband's. Wifey says my waist." I only read the beginning before quietly exiting the app. I also gave Aaron a nickname, Mr. 100 Times. Thinking about it, it was actually ridiculous. He was the one Sharon always held closest to her heart. Why was he competing with a loser like me? He probably was not depressed at all. His brain was more likely broken. Of course, the absurdity did not stop there. Mr. 100 Times even messaged me privately, sending over a naked photo covered in kiss marks. "Lucas, when she was with you, was she this inconsiderate too? It hurt so much." I'm about to be completely drained. A wave of goosebumps ran over my skin. I replied to him. I can tell. Tell her to be careful not to snap you in half. This was not me being sharp-tongued. He really was built like a twig. Those skinny arms and legs looked like they could break at any moment. Just a few minutes later, Sharon's call came through. She exploded into curses in her hometown twang. I did not understand a single word. After a long silence, I tested the waters. Can you say it again in normal English? The other end went quiet as well. Lucas Reed, don't test my patience. I understood instantly. Then shall we go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow? It's a bit late now. They're already closed. She gave no response and hung up. When I called back, I found myself blocked. I let out a sigh. She had always been like this. The moment she got angry, she blocked me. In the past, I would have abandoned all dignity out of love, clinging shamelessly to beg for her forgiveness. Now, I could not care less. 7 years with Sharon had exhausted both my body and my mind. How had we ended up like this? Back then, she had been the one who pursued me. At that time, her gentleness and those eyes full of love were meant for me alone. We struggled together, moving from a basement apartment into a grand villa. Later, Sharon's heart began to wander. She wanted me to return home to take care of her seriously ill parents. On the other hand, she used work as an excuse to stay away from home for half a month at a time. It was not that I had no complaints. I loved her too much and truly could not lose her. As long as she did not cross any fundamental lines, I was willing to turn a blind eye and muddle through life together. Unfortunately, Sharon failed to hold the line. After Aaron returned to the country, the two of them quickly rekindled their old relationship. Endless arguments followed, until we grew sick of even looking at each other. Every time we fought, she was in the wrong. That was when she would deliberately choose the most vicious words to wound me. She despised me for living off her, saying I was useless and could not help with the company at all. She forgot that all the connections she had were earned back then, glass by glass, when I drank myself into them. After countless arguments, I brought up divorce. She hugged me instead and promised to make up a wedding for me. When we got married, we were poor. We could not afford a wedding. That day, Sharon cried as she swore that once she made it big, she would give me the wedding of a lifetime. When she finally became rich enough, she had the means but not the intention. When she mentioned it again, my heart stirred despite itself. Every stitch and detail of the wedding had to pass through me. I would not allow even the smallest flaw. In the end, she still destroyed everything. I knew it then. My heart would never beat for her again. The next day, I slept until I woke up naturally. The moment I turned on my phone, I saw more than a dozen missed calls from her. That was rare. Before I could finish feeling surprised, she called again. Lucas, where the hell did you go? My dad had an accident in his pants. And my mom, how many days has it been since you last bathed her? Her voice was sharp and shrill. You promised me you'd take good care of them. That's why I handed them over to you. Is this how you take care of people? Being useless is one thing. I didn't expect you to have zero sense of responsibility too. You've really disappointed me. Listening to her, I found it almost funny. If I truly had no sense of responsibility, would I have taken care of her parents, Robert and Margaret Moonstone, for 3 years? Her father was paralyzed while her mother had Alzheimer's. Anyone could imagine how difficult that was. They despised me, looked down on me for living off their daughter, and constantly pressured me to divorce her. When I refused, they did everything they could to torment me. Soiling themselves 3 times a day was basic routine. I was miserable. Yet because I loved her, I endured it all in silence. Only after I brought up divorce did I finally find some relief. I replied casually, "Why don't you hire a caregiver, ex-wife?" She exploded instantly. What do you mean by that? You're saying you won't care anymore? I spoke calmly. They're your parents, not mine. You're the one who should be taking care of them. If you don't want to do it yourself, then consider spending money and hiring someone. Why are you yelling at me? Her parents were notoriously difficult, even among professional caregivers. Finding someone reliable on short notice would not be easy. She seemed to realize that, too, because her tone softened. You've been the one taking care of them all these years. You know their situation best. We're family. There's no need to draw such clear lines. I laughed. Don't drag me into this. You and Aaron are their real family now. If you can't handle it, let him take care of them. A shrill scream came from the other end. His hands are meant for playing the piano. How could he do such crude work? Lucas, what kind of intentions do you have? So what? I was just supposed to endure all of this? It turned out love and the absence of it were painfully obvious. Then what exactly did my 7 years amount to? I only felt tired, so tired I did not even want to breathe. Pick a time. Let's finalize the divorce. If you keep messing around, don't blame me for not holding back. She froze for a moment, then burst out laughing. You think you can threaten me? Lucas, you really overestimate yourself. Final warning. Keep this up, and I'll make sure you leave with nothing. How did I never notice before that she could not understand human language? I was exhausted. Fine. You pick the time. I'll be there. The sound of glass shattering came through the phone. She had lost her temper. She gritted her teeth. Great. Let's meet in an hour. Whoever doesn't show is a loser. She had always been all talk and no action. This time was no different. I waited outside the Civil Affairs Bureau for 2 full hours. She never showed. I called her. No one answered. I pinched the bridge of my nose, a suffocating pressure building in my chest. Was this really necessary? We were already getting divorced. Did she still need to toy with me like this? At the peak of my irritation, she came running toward me in a fluffy dress and thin stilettos. Her smile was sweet as she threw herself into my arms. Honey, I'm so happy. We can finally get our marriage certificate. I frowned and looked past her, straight at her assistant, Emily Parker. What's going on? Emily covered her face, her expression pale. Sir, she was just in a car accident. She has amnesia. Amnesia? I rolled the word around on my tongue. It tasted like rust and cheap iron. Do you think I'm an idiot, Emily? Emily Parker, usually the picture of professional indifference, looked terrified. Sir, I swear. The doctor is inside. She hit her head on the dashboard when the airbag didn't deploy correctly. She thinks it's 7 years ago. I pushed past her and walked into the VIP waiting room. Sharon was sitting on the edge of the examination bed, swinging her legs. When she saw me, her eyes lit up. Not the predatory, mocking glint I had grown used to over the last few years, but a genuine starry-eyed beam. Lucas. She hopped off the bed, ignoring her bruised knees, and rushed to hug me. She buried her face in my chest, inhaling deeply. You smell like detergent. Did you change brands? Where have you been? I've been waiting for hours. My body went rigid. I didn't hug her back. I looked over her shoulder at the doctor, who was reviewing a CT scan. Retrograde amnesia, the doctor said, adjusting his glasses. Physically, she's fine aside from a mild concussion. But her memory seems to have reset to a point prior to her current social standing. Sharon pulled back, looking confused. She touched the lapel of my worn-out jacket, the only one she hadn't bought for me. Honey, why are you looking at me like that? And why is everyone calling me Mrs. Moonstone? Did my dad win the lottery? She looked at her own hands, manicured with diamonds embedded in the gel nails. She frowned. And when did I get these? They look tacky. I scrutinized her face. I looked for the twitch in her eye, the subtle sneer, the arrogance. There was nothing. Just the Sharon from 7 years ago. The girl who shared instant noodles with me in a basement apartment. The girl who swore she'd love me forever. Lucas. Her voice trembled slightly. You're scaring me. Did I do something wrong? At that moment, the door banged open. Aaron rushed in, panting, his face pale. Sharon. My God, are you okay? He rushed forward to grab her hand, his eyes red-rimmed. I heard about the crash. I thought I lost you, baby. Sharon recoiled as if she'd touched a hot stove. She slapped his hand away and hid behind me. Who the hell are you? She snapped, peeking out from behind my shoulder. Lucas, who is this skeleton? Why is he trying to touch me? The room went dead silent. Aaron's face turned a shade of purple I didn't think was humanly possible. Sharon, stop joking. It's me. Aaron. You're your love. My love. Sharon looked at him with genuine disgust. Buddy, you look like a gust of wind would snap you in half. My husband is right here. She wrapped her arms tighter around my waist. Lucas is the only man I've ever loved. Get away from me. Aaron looked like he had been slapped. He looked at me, his eyes filled with venomous confusion. Lucas, what did you tell her? You brainwashed her. She has amnesia, Aaron, I said, my voice devoid of emotion. She doesn't remember the last 7 years. Which means she doesn't remember you. I looked down at the woman clinging to me. It was the cruelest joke the universe could have played. The Sharon who destroyed me was gone. In her place was the Sharon I had mourned for years. But I wasn't the same Lucas anymore. Let go, Sharon, I said, peeling her arms off me. She looked hurt. Honey, we're going home, I said. But not the home you think. Bringing her back to the villa was a surreal nightmare. As the car pulled into the driveway of the massive estate she had bought 3 years ago, Sharon's jaw dropped. Lucas, did we rob a bank? She pressed her face against the glass. Who lives here? You do, I said. Me. She laughed nervously. Stop teasing. We can barely afford rent next month. When we walked inside, Emily was waiting with the staff. They bowed respectfully. Sharon looked like a deer in headlights. She clung to my sleeve, walking on her tiptoes as if afraid to dirty the marble floors. Where are Mom and Dad? She whispered. In the East Wing, I said. They're resting. I didn't have the heart, or the energy, to tell her that her father was paralyzed and her mother didn't know who she was. I wanted to see how long this charade would last. I led her to the master bedroom. She walked in and immediately froze. Above the bed was a massive wedding photo. But it wasn't us. It was the makeup wedding photo she had taken with Aaron just a week ago. Photoshop had made Aaron look healthier, standing tall beside her in a white tuxedo. Sharon stared at the photo. Then she looked at the bedside table, where a framed picture of Aaron sat. "Lucas," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Why is there a picture of that skeleton man in our bedroom? And why? Why am I wearing a wedding dress next to him?" She turned to me, tears welling up in her eyes. Did you die? Did I marry someone else because you died?" The absurdity of it almost made me laugh. "No, Sharon," I said, sitting on the edge of the velvet sofa. "I didn't die. You just found someone better." "That's impossible." She grabbed the picture frame and smashed it on the floor. Glass shattered everywhere. "I would never. I hate skinny guys. I love you. You're the one who worked 3 jobs to pay for my tuition. You're the one who stayed up all night when I had a fever." She was hyperventilating. "This is a nightmare. Wake me up, Lucas." I watched her break down with a detachment that frightened me. 7 years ago, I would have held her. I would have wiped her tears. Now I just watched. "It's not a nightmare, Sharon. It's your life. You cheated on me. You humiliated me. And today we were supposed to divorce." She froze. The color drained from her face completely. She dropped to her knees, crawling over the broken glass towards me. She didn't seem to feel the shards cutting into her skin. "No," she sobbed, grabbing my hand. "I didn't. I couldn't have. Lucas, please, I don't remember any of that. Look at me. I'm still me. I'm your Sharshar." Sharshar. The nickname I hadn't used in 5 years. "You aren't." I pulled my hand away. "And by the way, you're pregnant with his child." The scream she let out was primal. She clawed at her stomach, as if trying to rip something out. "Get it out. I don't want it. I don't want a stranger's baby." It was a chaotic, bloody mess. Eventually, the sedative the doctor gave her kicked in, and she passed out on the rug. I stood over her, looking at the blood on her knees and hands. I took out my phone. Aaron had sent me 20 messages. "I'm coming over. If you touch her, I'll kill you. She's mine, Lucas." A memory lapse doesn't change ownership. I typed a reply. "Come pick her up. She broke your picture. And she keeps vomiting every time I mention your name. Good luck." I didn't send it. Instead, I called my lawyer. "The divorce," I said. "Pause it for a week." "Mr. Reed?" The lawyer sounded confused. "Did she sign?" "No." I looked down at the woman who looked like an angel but carried a devil's history. "I need to secure my exit. If she has amnesia, she's vulnerable. I'm going to get back everything she took from me. Every single cent." The next morning, the dynamic in the house shifted in a way that defied all logic. Usually, I would wake up at 6 a.m., clean the house, prepare breakfast for Sharon, gluten-free, high-protein, and then go clean her parents. Today, I slept until 9. When I walked downstairs, the smell of burnt toast filled the air. Sharon was in the kitchen. She was wearing an oversized t-shirt of mine she must have dug out of the trash, or the back of a closet. Her hair was tied in a messy bun. "I'm sorry," she yelped when she saw me. "I don't know how to use this stove. It talks." "Why does the stove talk, Lucas?" She held up a plate of charred eggs and black toast. She looked proud yet terrified. "But I made coffee. Us.By. Just how you like it." She had found a jar of cheap instant coffee I kept hidden because she forbade low-class food in the house. "I don't drink instant anymore," I lied. I sat at the table. "Where is the maid?" "I sent them away," Sharon said, wiping her hands on her shirt. "Why do we need strangers in the house? I can take care of you. I can take care of Mom and Dad." She paused, her expression darkening. "I went to see them this morning. Lucas, why does Dad smell like? Why is he in that condition?" "Because you fired the last 3 caregivers," I said, buttering the burnt toast. "And you said I was free labor." "I said that." Her eyes widened in horror. "I made you clean poop? For 3 years." Sharon looked like she was going to throw up. She walked around the table and hugged my head, pressing my face into her stomach. "I'm so sorry. I'm a monster. I'm going to kill the future me. I promise, Lucas, I'll fix it. I'll do it all today." And she did. It was grotesque and fascinating. The billionaire CEO, Sharon Moonstone, who hadn't lifted a finger in years, was on her knees scrubbing the floors. She went into her parents' room and gagged, but she cleaned them. She changed her father's sheets. She fed her mother. She came out smelling like disinfectant and sweat, looking exhausted but determined. "I did it," she beamed at me, waiting for a pat on the head. "I called an agency too. I hired the best nurses. I'm not letting you do that again." Just then the doorbell rang. It was Aaron. And he wasn't alone. He had brought Sharon's parents' favorite snacks and a bouquet of roses. He walked in with the confidence of the master of the house. "Lucas, move aside. I'm here to see my fiancé." Sharon walked out of the bathroom, drying her hair. When she saw Aaron, her face dropped. Why is the skeleton back? Aaron's smile twitched. Baby, stop playing. It's not funny anymore. Look, I brought you the emerald necklace you wanted. He opened a velvet box. Inside was a necklace worth more than my entire existence. Sharon looked at the necklace, then at Aaron. She walked over, took the box, and snapped it shut. You think you can buy me? She hissed. You home-wrecking twig. Did you seduce me with money? Is that it? Did you take advantage of me when I was drunk? She threw the box at his chest. Get out of my house. Aaron caught the box, his face turning cold. Sharon. Don't push me. You know you need me. The company relies on the Miller family's investment. If you kick me out, the stock plunges. This was the threat that always worked on the old Sharon. But amnesia Sharon didn't know what a stock market was. She only knew loyalty. She grabbed a broom from the corner. I don't care about stocks. I care about my husband. Get out before I sweep you out. She actually started hitting him with the broom. Aaron shrieked, shielding his face, retreating towards the door. You're insane. You'll regret this. Aaron yelled from the driveway. Lucas. You're dead. I'll ruin you. Sharon slammed the door and locked it. She turned to me, breathing heavy, her eyes shining with triumph. I protected us, Lucas, she whispered. Did I do good? I looked at her. For a second, just a second, my heart ached. This was the girl who once fought off a mugger who tried to take my wallet. You did, I said softly. Then can I kiss you? She asked, leaning in. I stepped back. No. Her face fell. You're still pregnant with his child, I reminded her. Sharon looked down at her flat stomach. Her expression shattered. I'll get rid of it. Tomorrow. I swear. The next few days were a blur of cognitive dissonance. Sharon dragged me to the clinic the next day to terminate the pregnancy, but the doctor refused. Ms. Moonstone, the doctor said, looking at the charts. You aren't pregnant. Sharon and I both froze. What? Your HCG levels are 0. You aren't pregnant. You never were. It was likely a phantom pregnancy, or a misinterpretation of a test. I looked at Sharon. She looked confused. Then it hit me. She hadn't been pregnant. She had lied. The old Sharon had lied to trap me, to stop the divorce, or maybe just to hurt me. She had used a fake pregnancy to force me to accept Aaron's child, just to see if I would break. A wave of pure, cold hatred washed over me. Even her amnesia couldn't erase the sickness of her past actions. Sharon, however, wept with joy. Oh, thank God. Lucas. Did you hear? I'm clean. I didn't carry the skeleton's baby. She tried to hug the doctor. We walked out of the clinic. The sun was blinding. Now we can start over, Sharon said, skipping towards the car. I'm going to sell the company. I don't want to be a CEO if it makes me a bad person. We can open that bakery we talked about when we were 20. Remember? Moon and Reed Pastries. I stopped walking. I remember, I said. Great. Let's go look for storefronts. Sharon, I said. I'm not opening a bakery with you. Why not? Because I have a job interview tomorrow. Oh, she blinked. Doing what? At a competitor of your company. As a director of operations. That's amazing. She clapped. You're so smart, Lucas. You'll crush it. Can I drive you? I'll make you a packed lunch. She didn't get it. She didn't understand that I was joining her rival to dismantle her empire. Narrative summary of chapters 8 to 20. The middle arc, the House of Cards. Over the next 2 weeks, the situation becomes a psychological thriller. Aaron, realizing he cannot emotionally manipulate amnesia Sharon, switches tactics. He leverages the Miller family's debt over the Moonstone Corporation. He freezes accounts. He launches a media smear campaign, claiming Lucas is abusing a mentally unstable woman to steal her fortune. Lucas, however, is 2 steps ahead. He uses Sharon's trust to gain access to the company's encrypted servers. Passwords only she knew, which amnesia Sharon happily resets and gives to him because husbands and wives share everything. Lucas discovers the truth about the depression. Aaron isn't depressed. He's a gambling addict who lost millions overseas. Sharon had been funneling company money to cover his debts, disguising it as investments. This is a crime. Embezzlement. Meanwhile, Sharon tries desperately to woo Lucas back. She recreates their first date. She sells her luxury bags to buy him a vintage watch he once admired. She defends him against her lucid but paralyzed father, who screams that Lucas is a leech. He's not a leech, Dad. He's the only one who cleans your ass, she yells back. Lucas feels pity, but not love. He realizes that this innocent Sharon is a temporary glitch. The real Sharon, the one who made the choices to hurt him, is still in there, waiting to wake up. The turning point, the accident revisited. In chapter 14, Lucas finds the dashcam footage from the car accident. It wasn't an accident. Sharon and Aaron were fighting in the car. Audio from the footage. Aaron, he knows too much. If he divorces you and audits the accounts, we go to jail. Sharon. Sharon. I don't care. I'm bored of him anyway. But I can't let him have half. Maybe if he disappears. Aaron. Don't be stupid. Just drug him again. Sharon. I hate looking at his pathetic face. I wish I could just erase him. Then the crash happens. Lucas watches this. Any lingering guilt he felt about deceiving amnesia Sharon evaporates. The woman currently baking him cookies in the kitchen isn't an innocent girl. She is a dormant predator. She wanted him gone. The climax, the gala and the awakening. Chapter 17 features the annual Moonstone Charity Gala. Aaron forces the board to call for a vote of no confidence in Sharon, citing her mental instability. He plans to take over as interim CEO. Lucas helps Sharon get ready. She is terrified. I don't know how to be a CEO, Lucas. They're going to eat me alive. Just read the speech I wrote, Lucas says. Trust me. At the gala, Aaron takes the stage, painting Sharon as incompetent and Lucas as a manipulator. The crowd murmurs. Then Sharon takes the stage. She looks at Lucas for support. He nods. She starts reading. But halfway through she stops. Her hand touches her head. The flashing lights of the cameras trigger a seizure-like episode. She drops the microphone. When she stands back up, her eyes have changed. The innocence is gone. The cold, imperious sneer returns. The amnesia has broken. She remembers everything. She looks at Aaron. She looks at Lucas. She sees the cheap suit she's wearing, that amnesia Sharon bought. She sees the lack of jewelry. What is this garbage? She whispers into the hot mic. The crowd gasps. Aaron smirks. She's back. Sharon composes herself instantly. Aaron, she says, her voice dripping with venom. Get off my stage. I own this stage now, babe, Aaron laughs. Lucas steps forward. He connects his phone to the main projector. Actually, Lucas speaks into his own mic. Nobody owns this stage. Because this company is under federal investigation as of. He checks his watch, 10 minutes ago. On the giant screen behind them, Lucas projects the evidence. The embezzlement, the fake depression diagnosis, the offshore gambling debts, and the dashcam footage of them plotting against Lucas. The room erupts. Sharon stares at the screen, her face pale. She turns to Lucas. You set me up. I washed your clothes. I cooked for you. I loved you. No, Lucas says calmly, his voice amplified through the hall. The woman who washed my clothes was a ghost. You killed her 7 years ago. You are just the monster wearing her skin. Police sirens wail in the distance. The ending. The liberation. Aaron tries to run but is tackled by security, who haven't been paid due to his embezzlement. Sharon stands alone on the stage. She looks at Lucas, trembling. Lucas. I can fix this. We can fix this. Don't let them take me. I'm pregnant. I really am this time. No, wait, I can be pregnant. I'll give you a soccer team. She is cycling through her manipulations, desperate. Lucas walks up to her. He hands her the divorce papers. Sign it, he says. Or I hand over the evidence of you drugging me to the police. That's assault, Sharon. Add that to the embezzlement. Sharon looks at the police entering the hall. She looks at Lucas. She realizes, finally, that she has no power over him. With shaking hands, she signs the papers. You'll regret this, she whispers, crying. Nobody will ever love you like I did. I'm counting on it, Lucas replies. 6 months later. Lucas is working as the COO of the rival tech firm. He lives in a clean, modern apartment. No grand villa. No paralyzed in-laws verbally abusing him. He is sitting in a cafe, reading the news on a tablet. Headline: Moonstone heiress sentenced to 5 years for fraud. Partner Aaron Miller found guilty of money laundering. He scrolls down. There is a photo of Sharon in court. She looks aged, bitter. She isn't looking at the camera. She is looking at the empty seat where her family should be. Lucas sips his coffee, real coffee, not instant. A woman approaches his table. It's a colleague from his new job. She's kind, quiet, and respects him. Lucas? Ready for the meeting? Yeah, Lucas smiles, standing up. He leaves the tablet on the table. I'm ready. He walks out into the sunlight, finally free. The performance is over.